It's an extremely common mistake. Often people think that in every movie there has to be some sort of CG or green screen. In reality, it's very different. Come on.
This is an LED volume. It's basically a gigantic screen used to emulate how the real world looks. These so-called LED volumes have been used a lot in recent movies. Even movies like Batman and Superman have started using this technology. But before we get into how these movies are using these screens, let's first dive into why they're using them. Shooting on location is the best thing you can do. If you can. At a real location, the actors are far more immersed and you don't have to do as much post-production work by adding in different elements and adding in a whole background. But it can sometimes be hard to shoot on location. If you're shooting outside, you have no control over the weather, so your shots may look totally different from take to take. That is, of course, if you can shoot at the location you want to shoot at. Let's say you're on a train. No, not that one. A real train. You'll need to have a crew at a very small location. For the movie Darjeeling Limited, Wes Anderson had production pretty much rebuild the whole train so that it was quote-unquote filming friendly. Production built walls that slid so the cameras can easily fit in. Also having a track on the roof of the train so that they didn't have to use any dollies. But it made sense for that movie. The whole movie was essentially filmed on the train. And if you have the money, then this is something you may want to do, since it's a lot simpler than building sets for every shot of the movie. Other times it's nearly impossible to shoot what you want practically. For example, you can't shoot on an alien planet, at least not that I know of. For shots like that, movies typically start using green screens or blue screens.
Quickly, let's run through how a green screen is used. In theory, all you have to do is grab your subject and shoot them against a green background. In post, all you have to do is select a specific hue of green or blue and remove that color. Do this with the green or blue screen. Other colors are too similar to the human skin tone. You rarely need those. With the green removed, now you can put anything behind your subject. Of course, it's never that simple. You can't always get a clean mask from green screening. Often editors cut out the character for every single frame because of that, which is the thing that you wanted to avoid in the first place. Congratulations, now you know how to green screen. Now that there's nothing in the background, we can finally put something behind the actor. If you don't have a moving scene, then you're done. If you do, you'll have to track your scene. Tracking a scene is a topic all by itself, so I won't cover that in this video. But it is a lot of work, and all of that work is done for just one shot of the movie. So it's no wonder that you're seeing virtual production being used more and more. Virtual production is just a fancy way of saying a giant TV behind or in front of the actor. It fixes nearly all the issues of shooting outside and all of the issues of shooting on a green screen. Its upsides are one of the main reasons that it's been used in a lot of recent movies and TV shows.
Well, I think the way in which it's probably helped the most is it helps with the performers. I think that when a performer is here on a set in this truck and we see these backgrounds going around us, they know where they are. They feel as if they're in that environment versus being in front of a bunch of blue or green screen. It's a real benefit.
On this giant array of screens, we can have anything. You can have a small TV to fake a window, or you can have thousands of panels to fake your whole entire scene. Of course, with both of these examples, you'll have to add plenty of set dressing to match the CG scene being rendered by the screens. But once we do, we can be anywhere, and we can be there at any time of the day.
Man, that's one of the big advantages with the LED stages. You can essentially freeze time. You can put up a golden hour sunset, and you can have that sunset last as long as you need while you're doing the photography. When you're shooting, out on location, you'll shoot a bunch of stuff one direction at sunrise, you'll shoot a bunch of stuff the other direction at sunset, just so that the lighting is better on the actors' faces depending on which direction they're facing. With the LED setup, you can essentially spin the world, you can spin the sky, hold the world stationary.
To note, this isn't just a video playing on a screen. That's video projection, and we've had that for a while, ever since the 1930s. Virtual production is a little different. In these volumes, we're able to step directly into these CG worlds. The cameras that you see are tracked so the screens render the CG world from the camera's point of view. That means you can walk around with a camera and be able to see behind different objects, live in camera, without having to do any post-production. I was able to set this up with my phone on top of my camera. The software is able to take my phone's location and rotation data and translate that onto the screen. It was surreal to see the scene on camera almost exactly how I imagined it, with nearly no lag. This is huge. This gives directors a lot of information. They're able to give feedback to the actor on set rather than be stuck with a take or worse, have to do retakes. There's also another big upside. You can have reflective materials on set and not worry about handling that in post.
You have all the ambient light and reflections, more importantly. And so we have a very reflective character to take advantage of that, because that helps sell it. Because we have green screen, first you got to knock the green out of the reflections, then you got to put another reflection, you got to map another reflection on top of those surfaces. So people tend to avoid reflective surfaces when they're on a green screen stage, whereas we embrace it.
With all of these upsides, it kind of seems like a no-brainer to use virtual production. And sometimes it is. But there are some drawbacks with it. First, you have to nail everything in pre-production. You have to have all the CG set up before you go film. That can be a curse and a blessing. A curse since you actually have to set it up beforehand, but a blessing in the sense that you can essentially change the scene on set. A big problem with virtual production is the screens themselves. The screen can be too shiny and sometimes have weird colors. Other times the scene is really hard to render, so you get laggy outputs or frame drops. After all, these games are being rendered in real time, literally using the same engine as Fortnite. And just like you can lag in Fortnite, you can lag here.
And wherever you move the camera, everything was correct that was on the stage, and everything in the background had parallax like in a video game, because we were using a game engine to render it in real time.
You damaged one of my droids, you'll pay for it.
Just keep them away from my ship.
Virtual production isn't really a silver bullet. Sometimes it might be better to shoot on location or with a green screen. It all depends though. There's a time and a place for virtual production. It's still young, and it's only going to get better. All I had to do was use my phone. Other than that, I didn't have to do too much setup. I threw in a couple of CG assets and I was fine. Of course, my use case was a lot simpler than the movies or the TV shows. Their setups seemed to be a lot more involved. If you want to get more information about setting up virtual production, or you just want to read more, I'll leave some things for you in the description. With that being said, thank you guys for watching, and bye.